G'day, Chaps. It's I, ClownPuncher139. A few years ago, when I first started posting things to YouTube, I uploaded really crap content. One video I am proud of, though, was my first theory on Batman Arkham City. I'm not proud of the production quality, but proud of the general message of the video. So, because I want to get this theory out to a wider audience than it reached the first time, this will be my first ever video remaster. I really want to do this video justice because it's a topic I'm incredibly passionate about. So, without further ado, welcome to the remaster of Does Batman Have Bad Blood?
You can teach me, Joker.
Oh, come on! There's always something to learn!
Back in Arkham Asylum, Joker injected himself with the serum known as Titan. This serum transformed him into a giant hulking beast, but Batman defeated him, returning him to normal. However, after at least a year, the serum is still lingering within Joker's bloodstream, slowly killing him. He's been trying to get a cure for months now, and if he doesn't get it tonight, he will die. So, he forcefully enlists the help of Batman by infecting him with his poison blood. Now, if he doesn't get a cure, both he and Joker will die. But that isn't really enough for Batman, because Joker also sent samples of his blood to hospitals all across Gotham, potentially poisoning and killing thousands. Now, all this is par for the course, and I'm sure you knew all of this. So, why does it matter? Because Batman ends up dying much quicker than we'd expect. In fact, if not for Ra's al Ghul, he'd be dead by the halfway point. This seems to clash with the fact that Joker has been infected for over a year and he's still alive. And he's been sending his blood to hospitals for weeks, yet there hasn't been a medical emergency brought up in Gotham that we know about. So, what's going on here? Batman isn't dying in Arkham City because of Joker's poison blood. He's dying because of Joker's blood, period. Allow me to explain. If you've at least taken high school biology, you may recall something other than the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, that being blood types. Despite being such a simple thing that all humans share, there are actually 8 different types of blood that you can have. Here's a quick chart since I don't want to list them all. The reason it's important for hospitals to know what type of blood you have is because different types won't always react well with each other. For instance, A positive blood can receive any A-type blood as well as any O-type. However, B negative blood can only receive B negative and O negative blood. This is because higher levels, if you will, of blood have more molecules that lower levels do not. And if those molecules were to be introduced to a bloodstream that doesn't have them, the immune system reacts to it and tries to kill it. The reason this isn't a problem with O negative blood is because it has no molecules to speak of. Therefore, every other blood type will not react to it, because there's nothing additional. What this means is that I believe Batman isn't suffering from Joker's poison, but from his blood because their blood types are incompatible. As far as I have searched, there is no confirmation on what either character's blood types are. So this is definitely an assumption, but a very educated assumption, as you'll soon see. I'll go through all my evidence, one piece at a time, to explain why Batman is a victim of a bad blood transfusion. While not all are present, Batman has several symptoms associated with a bad blood transfusion, so let's list some of them. Number 1, a strong feeling that something bad is about to happen. Batman states that he knows he's dying because he can feel it at multiple points of the story.
Just give me a minute. I'll be alright. How long have I got?
Number 2, breathing difficulties. Batman is seen coughing up blood at least once in Wonder City and ends up coughing all the way to the demon trials.
Structures will grow to block out the sun, and the people who live there will be choked.
Number 3, jaundice, also known as the yellowing of the skin. We only get one good look at Batman's face when Talia lifts his mask, but we and she can tell his face is not normal. It's hard to tell if it's yellow, but I think it's a pretty safe bet.
A better world. Your face! What happened?
There are other symptoms, but none that we can confirm Batman having due to the limitations of the game, including fever, muscle aches, or blood in the urine. Though I think it's a safe bet that if blood is coming out one way, it would also come out through a cough. These three are pretty good evidence of Batman having a bad blood transfusion. However, these symptoms could be evidence for other illnesses as well, so we can't say anything for certain. The biggest and best piece of evidence suggesting Batman underwent a bad blood transfusion is just the timing of everything. As we know, Joker has been poisoned by Titan for over a year, and yet Batman starts succumbing to the effects in mere hours. This aligns with bad blood transfusions. If left untreated, bad transfusions can result in death in as little as 24 hours. And this is assuming the victim is lying in a hospital bed, not out fighting crime the whole time. The constant running and fighting Batman is doing would have his heart racing, sending blood further through his body. And we actually have a good measurement of time thanks to Hugo Strange announcing Protocol 10. Before getting knocked out by Harley, Hugo announces that Protocol 10 will be in 9 hours.
Protocol 10 will commence in 9 hours.
And just before Oracle says Batman has minutes to live, Hugo announces that it will be in 4 hours.
Protocol 10 will commence in 4 hours.
Oh, thank God. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. At this rate, I'd say minutes.
So, admittedly being a little bit generous, Batman would have died in a mere 5 hours. Compared to the Joker's multiple months, this simply doesn't make sense if he was simply poisoned. Time-wise, this is absolutely the result of a bad blood transfusion. After fighting Ra's al Ghul, Batman explains exactly what happened to Oracle. Before the demon trials, Ra's forced him to take a swig of LAZARUS, a liquid that heals most ailments at the risk of hallucinations. Oracle assumes he's cured, but Batman quickly shoots the idea down, saying the effects are temporary. However, I believe he is. Kinda. He does still have the Titan poison running through his blood, but he is no longer at risk of the bad blood transfusion. To prove this, we just have to look back at time. As mentioned, before Bruce sees his parents, Strange says that there are 4 hours to Protocol 10. Batman shows none of the symptoms above for the rest of the game. Assuming no more than a few minutes passed between the announcement and drinking the LAZARUS, which we can assume because Oracle says Bruce has minutes to live, Batman is symptomless for the rest of the game, which we can assume is at least 5 more hours, 4 of which are the countdown to Protocol 10, and we can assume from gameplay length that at least 1 more passed during Protocol 10 itself and the process of shutting it down. Considering the same amount of time has passed and Batman is completely symptomless, does that sound like he's suffering poison? No, because that wasn't what he was affected by. At the halfway point of Arkham City, Batman is cured from the bad blood transfusion. Now the only risk is becoming Joker. In Arkham Knight, it's revealed that Joker's blood stayed untreated in 4 people. The transfusions went unrecorded, and the people were stuck with the blood for months. It causes the victims to undergo a mutated form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, in essence slowly turning them into Joker. This completely undermines the information of Arkham City. Should the blood not be killing them like it did Joker? This is where we get into major speculation territory. Joker's blood is not immediately poisonous to others. It is my belief that the Titan in Joker's blood can only affect him. Think about it. 4 people were infected with Joker's blood for months between the events of City and Night. But their risk isn't from dying of poison, it's becoming Joker. Let's back up a bit and look at Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or CJD. CJD is caused by normally harmless proteins in our brains being folded or misshapen. It's an incredibly rare disease that can only affect someone by chance, by inheritance, or by severe exposure. Severe exposure including blood transfusions. CJD will eventually lead to dementia and ultimately death. So we know how the people got Mad Clown disease, but how did Joker's blood give it to them? What if the Titan in Joker's blood mutated the proteins in his brain? These mutated proteins are then transferred to the victims, resulting in the mutated form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. This mutated form of CJD then slowly transforms the victim's mind to become the Joker, but will ultimately lead to their death just like Joker before. I know this is all a little bit confusing, but stick with me as we get to the conclusion. If certain evidence points were hard to follow, don't worry, I've got a pretty comprehensive summary here to help you and myself out. In Arkham City, Batman is dying as the result of a bad blood transfusion, because he and the Joker have incompatible blood types. He has multiple symptoms, and the timing for such a medical emergency works out. It takes 4 hours for symptoms to take effect, and 5 hours for death to occur. He is cured from the transfusion by drinking a chalice of LAZARUS, a magical liquid able to heal most ailments. For the rest of the game, he is not at risk of dying, but doesn't know it, so he still tries to get the cure. We can tell he's cured because he shows no symptoms for the rest of the game, which lasts at least 5 more hours. He succeeds in getting Mr. Freeze's cure, but Joker not only dies, he also sent his blood out to hospitals all across Gotham. In Arkham Knight, it's revealed that they were able to track all of the blood down and cure those infected by it. However, 4 people were left undocumented and couldn't be cured. If Joker's blood was a quick killer like Batman's sickness implied it was, these 4 infected would be dead before they could be tracked down. Not only do they live for months just like Joker before, but they slowly turn into Joker through a mutated form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. The Titan in Joker's blood mutated proteins in his brain that slowly killed him, just like CJD minus the dementia. However, this is because Joker was patient 0 for the disease, hence why all subsequent infected turn into him. The mutated aspect of CJD Batman was talking about was regarding the effect on the brain. Normal CJD results in dementia, while this mutated string results in the brain essentially becoming another person, the Joker. These people require another cure, because the disease has infected them and corrupted their brains too much. The reason all of the victims were cured is because they were treated before the disease could take full effect. And the reason I know this is because of Arkham City. Batman takes half of Freeze's cure, intending to give the other half to Joker. However, this isn't enough to fully cure him, which we know because of the events of Arkham Knight. Batman is still infected because he didn't get enough cure. The amount of cure he took was only enough to temporarily subdue the infection, hence why it resurfaces in Arkham Knight. And it only resurfaces when he's under the effects of Scarecrow's fear toxin, a gas that affects the brain. The scariest part of all of this? Batman would most likely have lived after becoming Joker. Freeze's cure subdued the effects for months, and it's only when Scarecrow messes with his brain that Joker starts to resurface. All the other Joker victims in the movie studios would have died soon after the events of the game. Henry didn't even need to kill them all because they didn't get any cure. Batman got some cure before the disease took full effect, meaning he might have lived as Joker took over his mind. That is the scariest part of the Arkham saga. If not for Batman's sheer willpower to overcome his demons, Joker would have lived on through him. In summary, the Titan chemical corrupted proteins in Joker's brain, which slowly killed him. In doing so, he became patient 0 for a mutated form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. Rather than suffering from dementia and eventually death, people unfortunate enough to be exposed to the disease slowly turn into the Joker, as their corrupted proteins slowly take over their mind. After too much time has passed, they will die just like the Joker. Batman is not dying in Arkham City because of poison. He's dying because he and Joker have incompatible blood types. He was saved halfway through by the LAZARUS, but didn't know it. Joker's poisoned blood does not kill people as fast as we expect, hence why there are still some living in Arkham Knight. When taking the cure at the end of City, Batman did not ingest enough, and so only subdued the disease temporarily. It was left to merge with his brain for a year, slowly corrupting his mind with thoughts of the Joker. In Arkham Knight, Batman's inner demons were revealed thanks to Scarecrow's fear toxin, uncovering the Joker that was slowly taking over his mind that he thought he cured. All other victims of Joker's blood had since been cured, because the disease did not have enough time to merge with the host. Batman has had nothing but time, so he needs a new cure. He gets it by fighting his demons and overcoming his fears. And that is how you write a damn story, ladies and gents. I hope all that information made sense, chaps. If not, feel free to ask a question or two in the comments and I'll probably respond. As the title suggested, I recently passed 500 subscribers, so this video is out a little earlier than I anticipated and maybe a little rushed. I cannot thank you enough for enjoying my content, and will do my best to provide even more in the coming years. Either way, I hope this video was at least slightly enjoyable and that you'll consider sharing this video around with your fellow Arkham nerds. If you have other video suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm always looking for new ideas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, chaps.